Today is Thursday, May 16th. The stage is set for this year's presidential debates. We'll tell you how President Biden and former President Trump already seem to be taunting each other. Also, this could be an especially bad year for air quality in the U.S., with fires burning on both the northern and southern borders. Plus, upgrades are coming to air travel. You'll probably be able to cut up more credit cards soon. And Uber is making some ride-sharing and food delivery more affordable. Those stories and more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The showdown is set. President Biden and former President Trump agreed to meet face-to-face for 2 presidential debates this year. The first will be next month on CNN, followed by another one in September on ABC. But they're unusual. Both candidates said they would not participate in the usual fall debate sponsored by the nonpartisan commission that has organized them for more than 3 decades. Instead, these debates are being directly organized by the media outlets, CNN and ABC. Also, the first debate is unusually early, even before the conventions. So neither Biden nor Trump will have formally accepted their party's nomination yet. Biden was first to accept the invitation from CNN, and on social media, he challenged Trump by saying, quote, "Make my day, pal." Well, soon after, Trump got in his platform, Truth Social, to say he was ready and willing, adding, quote, "Let's get ready to rumble." He even suggested adding 2 more debates to the schedule. Technically, third-party candidates like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. could debate as well, but both CNN and ABC say to qualify, they'll need to reach at least 15% in 4 separate national polls. Plus, they have to be on enough state ballots to reach 270 electoral votes, which is the threshold for actually winning. And at this point, that's looking unlikely for anyone besides Trump or Biden. Of course, we'll be covering both debates when the time comes and bring you recaps right here on The Newsworthy. American elections are facing more threats this year. The director of national intelligence testified about those threats on Capitol Hill yesterday. She told lawmakers the most significant ones are still coming from Russia, China, and Iran. But the U.S. has started to see more threats from others, too. Officials aren't so much worried about people trying to hack voting machines or directly change the election outcomes in another way. They say it's more about tricking Americans into believing false information about the election or a candidate. Then another intelligence official told lawmakers the most concerning threats this year are those made against election workers. She says election workers have been harassed and threatened, and that many have resigned because of it. The intelligence community has mentioned that all of these threats have been supercharged by new technologies, like artificial intelligence that can make digital propaganda campaigns even more convincing and harder to trace. Now, all of that said, officials told Congress the federal government has never been better prepared to protect elections and will stay vigilant. In what was the most serious attack on a European leader in decades, Slovakia's prime minister was shot this week. Prime Minister Robert Fico was shot 5 times in what authorities are calling a politically motivated assassination attempt. He had to be airlifted to the hospital for surgery. But now Fico is expected to survive. The shooting has brought up a lot of concern that Europe's increasingly intense political atmosphere has tipped into violence. Other government officials have already pointed to rising hate speech and division as a motive. The gunman was immediately taken into custody, and no one else was hurt in this attack. Firefighters in Western Canada are still struggling to get control of massive wildfires. A lot of dry vegetation and gusty winds have fueled more than 100 fires this week, mostly in Canada's largest oil-producing area. The good news is a storm moving in now is giving firefighters a little assistance, at least temporarily, though thousands of people are still evacuated since the fires are burning close to their homes and businesses, and there's still a long fire season ahead. Here in the U.S., this could also mean a long smoke season. This week, hazardous smoke from the fires impacted air quality all the way from the Dakotas into Oklahoma. Fires in Mexico could also send smoke into the southern half of the U.S. So stay tuned. The latest inflation report is giving Americans a small sign of relief. The closely watched Consumer Price Index, or CPI, came out this week, showing what we pay for goods and services. It shows last month's prices rose 3.6% as compared to the same month last year. And that's the lowest yearly increase in what's known as core inflation in 3 years. Core inflation is just a measure of things, with food and fuel prices stripped out, since they tend to be extra volatile. But there was a slight dip in overall inflation as well, and the prices of groceries did go down. So did the prices of new and used cars and airline fares. It was really just gas prices and housing costs that were the real trouble spots. Still, economists say there needs to be more progress before the Federal Reserve will decide it's safe to lower interest rates again. And they're calling this a very small step in the right direction. We have much more news for you still ahead, but first, thanks to our sponsor, ZocDoc. I know I can't be my best at any other part of my life if I'm in pain or not feeling well. That's why I keep up with the annual doctor's appointments for myself and my family, and I seek out the right specialist if I'm having an unexpected issue. And while it's a top priority, I know healthcare can get expensive. So finding doctors that take my insurance is so important. And that's why I appreciate ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. Yes, not only is it free, but it also helps me quickly and easily find a variety of credible doctors who have offices nearby, take my insurance, and treat basically any condition I've looked for. And because I do have high standards, I always check out ZocDoc's verified reviews from actual real patients. Check out ZocDoc to find a doctor who makes you feel comfortable, listens, and most of all, works with you to prioritize your health. Go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Now back to the news. A new bipartisan bill that just passed in Congress is meant to make air travel easier and safer. The bill authorizes $105 billion for the FAA over the next 5 years. It directs it to add more air traffic controllers, add more safety inspectors at aircraft factories, improve access for passengers with disabilities, require airlines provide free 24/7 access to customer service agents, and a lot more. It also bans airlines from charging fees to let families sit together. And it says airlines must automatically pay refunds when flights are canceled or significantly delayed. You'll remember the Transportation Department already introduced an automatic refund rule earlier this year, and some airlines decided to sue over it, hoping to block it. Well, now that both the House and Senate have signed off, the Biden administration is expected to win in court. President Biden is set to sign the measure into law this week. A barge slammed into a bridge in Galveston, Texas this week. The crash spilled oil into the Gulf Coast Bay. Pieces of the bridge and a railroad track fell on the barge, and the only road to a small neighboring island had to be shut down. Officials say it happened when a tugboat was pushing the barge and lost control because of an intense current and high tide. Thankfully, there were no reports of anyone getting hurt. Now, the U.S. Coast Guard is looking to see how bad the oil spill was and will start the cleanup process. And the bridge is going to stay closed until it's deemed safe. Your wallet could be getting a little thinner soon. This week, Visa announced new features to let Americans carry fewer physical credit and debit cards. It says banks will be able to issue just one physical payment card that can be connected to multiple bank accounts. And people will be able to set the criteria with their bank. So, for example, they might say all purchases below $100 or with certain merchants get applied to the debit card, while everything else goes on the credit card. Visa says that feature should be available this summer. Visa also says eventually, changes will make it so the 16-digit card number won't matter so much, and customers won't be as vulnerable to fraud. The company says it will take time for that update and others to filter down to the banks, but it sees all these changes coming in the next year or two. Uber also announced several new product updates this week that it says will help people save money on rides and food. One highlight is Uber Shuttle. The company partnered with local shuttle services that will pick up riders and take them to places like the airport, sporting events, or concerts. Uber says the shuttle service will be a fraction of the price of a ride with UberX and won't be impacted by surge pricing. Another one is Uber Caregiver. So users who rely on other people for support will be able to add them to their profiles. So a caregiver will be able to book rides for those they care for and order groceries or medical supplies on their behalf. And health insurance could help pay for the cost. These features will start rolling out this summer. One other update we want to mention that's already rolled out, Costco is now on Uber Eats. And people can order products from the wholesale store on Uber even if they're not members, though those prices will be slightly higher for non-Costco members. Some of the best golfers in the world are coming together today for the PGA Championship. Three-time winner Brooks Koepka is looking to defend his title, but he'll face a lot of steep competition. Scottie Scheffler is the #1 golfer in the world right now, so he's the betting favorite again this time, by a lot. Rory McIlroy has the second best betting odds. There are 156 players in all. More than 200,000 fans are expected to attend the tournament at the Valhalla Golf Club in Louisville, Kentucky. For those watching from home, it'll be on either ESPN or CBS, and the tournament wraps up on Sunday. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Thing to Know Thursday. But first, I want to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, Honeylove. Ever since we moved, I've been trying to get real about the things in my closet that I'm really wearing and using, and the things that I should just donate or get rid of already. And since getting my Honeylove leggings, shapewear, and more, my old stuff is just not making the cut anymore. And that's because I choose Honeylove's Legging 2.0 pretty much every time I go into my closet. And when I need to wear a dress to a special event, the old shapewear that rides up is not going to be my first pick. Instead, Honeylove has changed the game. All of their items, from leggings to shapewear to bras, are designed to be comfortable, functional, and make you feel great. And now that I wear them, I can tell you, they all do just that. Treat yourself to the best bras, leggings, shapewear, and more, and save 20% at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/newsworthy to find your perfect fit. After your purchase, they ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. You deserve this. Free the pain and discomfort. Keep the support with Honeylove. Okay, now back to Thing to Know Thursday. So we've heard the Surgeon General talk about an epidemic of loneliness in today's society, but now a new study shows loneliness kind of ebbs and flows throughout life. Researchers from Northwestern University found that people are more lonely as young adults. Then they grow less lonely as they approach middle age. And unfortunately, they fall back into loneliness in their senior years. Researchers say this is the case even across different groups of people from the US, the UK, Germany, Sweden, the Netherlands, Australia, and Israel. So what's behind it? Well, the study author says in early adulthood, people go through a lot of changes, like moving out of their childhood home, and with that, they tend to leave their social networks. Then the dip in loneliness during middle age might be because people have demands that require more social interaction, like being married, having kids, going to work. But in older adulthood, it can be especially difficult since they tend to know people who pass away during that time. They also will likely retire and could also face some limitations to their physical mobility. But it doesn't have to be that way either. And experts have advice. So for example, they say don't wait until old age to try to build a good quality social network if you can. They also suggest joining a community group, participating in a sports league, or volunteering. And finally, don't wait for someone else to reach out to you. Go ahead and take the initiative with your own acts of kindness, and you might be surprised at what comes of it. All right, thank you so much for listening today and making us part of your everyday routine. We'll catch you up with more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.